First contact fallout. The Sentinel Deep Space Monitoring Station hung at the edge of the Sol system like a silent guardian, its arrays perpetually scanning the void for signs of the unknown. For decades, humanity had wondered if they were alone in the universe. On that fateful Thursday morning, they got their answer. Lieutenant Commander Ilara Reeves was midway through her shift when the alert pinged across her console. 3 objects, moving at impossible speeds, had just crossed the heliopause. Their trajectory was not random. They were headed directly toward Earth. "Contact Earthside Command," she ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her veins, "and begin first contact protocols." The Sentinel station's communication arrays pivoted, broadcasting the carefully crafted messages that humanity had prepared for this very moment. Mathematical sequences, basic language primers, and peaceful greetings in 100 Earth languages. The response came 6 minutes later, not in words or mathematical symbols, but in a brilliant flash of energy that sliced through the station's outer sensor ring like a hot knife through butter. "Evasive maneuvers," Reeves shouted, but it was already too late. The unknown vessels accelerated, surrounding the station in a perfect triangular formation. "They're scanning us," announced Chief Tech Officer Abrams, his fingers flying over the console. "Our systems can't block it. They're downloading everything." Reeves slammed her palm against the Emergency Protocols button. "Purge the databases. Now." The station's lights flickered as the emergency systems activated, wiping sensitive information about Earth's defenses. But the aliens had already taken what they wanted. A voice crackled over the comms, flat, emotionless, translated by the station's AI into English. "Your technology is primitive. Your defenses inadequate. The Nexari Dominion claims this system. Surrender or be eliminated." Reeves didn't hesitate. "This is Lieutenant Commander Ilara Reeves of Earth. We are a peaceful species, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. We request diplomatic." The station rocked violently as the first barrage hit. Warning klaxons blared as hull breaches were reported across multiple decks. The crew scrambled to emergency stations, but Reeves knew they had minutes at most. "Launch all data buoys back to Earth," she commanded. "They need to know what we're facing." As the station's integrity failed around them, Reeves watched the small, nondescript buoys rocket toward Earth, carrying crucial data about their attackers. Even if the Sentinel didn't survive, Earth would have warning. The largest of the alien vessels moved closer, its surface shimmering with otherworldly energy. A pulse of blinding light erupted from its bow, and the Sentinel station's main habitat ring sheared away in a catastrophic explosion. Reeves found herself flung into an escape pod as Chief Abrams slammed the launch button. "Earth needs to know," were his final words before the pod ejected into space, just as the station erupted into a ball of superheated plasma. Through the pod's viewport, Reeves watched with horror as the 3 alien vessels, sleek, angular, and deadly efficient, continued their journey toward the inner system, toward Earth. "This is just their scouting party," she whispered to herself. "God help us when their main force arrives." On Earth, the mood in the United Defense Council chamber was grim. Representatives from every major nation sat in stunned silence as they watched the footage from the Sentinel station's final moments. General Helena Zhao, head of Earth's combined defense forces, stood before the assembly, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays showing the approaching alien vessels. "The Nexari Dominion," she said, indicating the name the aliens had used. "We know nothing about them except that they're hostile and technologically superior. The Sentinel's destruction was effortless for them." "What about our defense platforms?" asked the representative from the European Federation. "The orbital cannons would be like throwing rocks at a tank," Zhao interrupted. "Our best estimates suggest their weapons technology is at least a century beyond ours. Conventional defense will not work." Murmurs of panic rippled through the chamber until Secretary General O'Keefe raised his hand for silence. "What options do we have, General?" he asked, his deep voice steady despite the circumstances. A ghost of a smile crossed Zhao's face. "More than the Nexari might expect, sir. Lieutenant Commander Reeves' escape pod was recovered 6 hours ago. The data she preserved gives us insight into their scanning capabilities, weapon systems, and hull composition. And there's something else." She nodded to her aide, who activated another hologram. This one showing microscopic structures salvaged from debris of the Sentinel station. The Nexari weapons left trace elements behind. Dr. Karishma Singh at the Advanced Materials Laboratory has been analyzing them, and she's found something interesting. Dr. Singh stepped forward, her eyes bright with the fever of discovery, despite the dark circles underneath them. "The Nexari energy weapons operate on principles we've theorized, but never successfully implemented," she explained. "Their technology is advanced, yes, but not incomprehensible. More importantly, their ship hulls contain a crystalline matrix that our scans suggest is vulnerable to specific frequencies of acoustic disruption." "You're saying we can hurt them?" the Chinese representative asked. Singh nodded. "Given time to adapt our own technology, yes. They're powerful, but not invincible." Secretary General O'Keefe leaned forward. "How much time do you need, Doctor?" Singh exchanged glances with General Zhao. "More than we have before those scout ships reach Earth. But if we can delay them, buy ourselves a few days." Zhao continued. "We've initiated Operation Last Stand. All orbital platforms are being modified according to Dr. Singh's specifications. They won't stop the Nexari, but they might slow them down." "And if they don't?" asked the Russian representative. "Then we fall back to the contingency I hoped we'd never need," Zhao replied, her expression hardening. Project Prometheus. A collective intake of breath swept through the room. Project Prometheus was the military's most classified program, a series of experimental weapons platforms and defense systems developed in secret over the past 20 years, ever since the first potential extraterrestrial signals had been detected. "Those systems were never fully tested," protested the American representative. "The risks are nothing compared to extinction," Zhao cut in. "I've already ordered full deployment of all Prometheus assets. The orbital shipyards have activated the prototype fleet. Everything we've kept hidden, everything we've been developing in the shadows. It all comes into play now." On screens around the chamber, satellite imagery showed massive hangar doors opening in remote locations around the world. Deep in the Sahara Desert, beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, in the depths of the Mariana Trench. From these hidden facilities emerged vessels and weapons unlike anything publicly known to exist. "We've been preparing for this possibility for longer than most of you realize," Zhao continued. "The public face of our space program is decades behind what we've actually achieved. The Nexari think they're facing a technologically inferior opponent because that's what we allowed them to see." Secretary General O'Keefe nodded grimly. "How long until the scout ships reach Earth?" 72 hours, Zhao replied. "And our intelligence suggests they're just the advance party. We're detecting larger energy signatures at the edge of the system. Their main fleet, we believe." "Then we have 72 hours to prepare humanity for war," O'Keefe declared. "Activate all defensive protocols. Begin global evacuation to the subsurface shelters. And General." "Sir." "Show these Nexari what happens when they underestimate humanity." Commander Ilara Reeves stood before the viewport in the lunar base's medical ward, watching as Earth grew smaller in the distance. She'd been evacuated here after her rescue, both for treatment of her injuries and for her expertise on the Nexari. "Commander," a voice called from behind her, "they're ready for you in the war room." She turned to see a young ensign, barely out of the academy by the look of him, standing at attention. "At ease, ensign," she said, wincing as she put weight on her injured leg. "What's your name?" "Chen, ma'am. Ensign David Chen." "Well, Ensign Chen, are we going to let those Nexari bastards take our home?" A fierce grin spread across the young man's face. "No, ma'am. Not while there's a single human left to fight. That's the spirit, Reeves said, limping toward the door. Now let's go show them why that was their first mistake. The Lunar Command Center buzzed with frantic activity as Reeves entered. Holographic displays showed the 3 Nexari scout ships approaching Earth's orbit, where the first line of defense, a network of seemingly primitive satellites, waited. General Zhou nodded to Reeves as she entered. "Commander, good to have you here. You've seen these bastards up close." "They're arrogant," Reeves replied. "They didn't even bother to hide their approach or evade our initial scans. They don't see us as a threat." "Perfect," Zhao said with a thin smile. "Arrogance makes you careless. And carelessness." She gestured to the main display, where dozens of small objects were now detaching from Earth's defense satellites. "Get you killed." The objects, hardly larger than a coffee mug, drifted seemingly at random. The Nexari ships paid them no attention as they closed on the first satellite defense ring. "Swarm drones activated," announced a technician. "Targeting systems online." "Execute," Zhao ordered. The tiny drones suddenly accelerated, their propulsion systems flaring to life as they swarmed toward the lid Nexari vessel. Most were destroyed by automated defense systems, but some attached to the alien hull. "Acoustic disruptors at full power," the technician reported. On the display, the drones began to pulse with energy. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then a visible shudder ran through the Nexari ship. Its sleek surface rippled like water, and fracture lines appeared across its hull. "It's working," someone shouted. The Nexari vessels retaliated instantly, energy beams lashing out to destroy the remaining satellites. But the damage was done. The lead ship's hull continued to fracture, its systems failing as the acoustic disruptors targeted the crystalline matrix Dr. Singh had identified. "They're breaking off," Reeves exclaimed as the Nexari ships abruptly changed course, retreating to a higher orbit. They didn't expect resistance. "No," Zhao agreed, her expression grim. "And now they'll call for reinforcements." She turned to address the command center. "We've bloodied their nose, but the real fight is just beginning. The main Nexari fleet will arrive within 48 hours. Prepare all Prometheus assets for deployment." As the command center erupted into renewed activity, Reeves caught Zhao's arm. "General, what exactly is Project Prometheus? How can we possibly stand against their main fleet?" Zhao's eyes gleamed with fierce determination. "Commander, humanity has never shown its full hand. What the world knows about our space capabilities is just the surface. For 50 years, we've been preparing for this day, developing technologies in secret, building ships that have never seen the light of day." She gestured to another display, showing massive hangar doors opening on the far side of the moon. "The Nexari think they've encountered a primitive species barely capable of interplanetary travel. They've only seen our scouts." From the lunar hangars emerged sleek vessels unlike anything Reeves had ever seen, clearly human-made, but incorporating technologies she'd thought were decades away from implementation. "Now," Zhao said with grim satisfaction, "they'll face humanity's real power." On the comms, a transmission from the Nexari fleet commander cut through the chatter. "Your resistance is noted. Humans, you have bloodied our scouts. An impressive feat for a primitive species. But now you will witness the true might of the Nexari Dominion. Surrender your world, or we will take it from your ashes." Zhao's reply was simple. "You fought our scouts. Now prepare to face humanity's real power." As the transmission ended, Reeves looked back at the lunar hangars disgorging humanity's secret fleet. For the first time since the Sentinel Station's destruction, she felt something new stirring in her chest. Hope. Humanity unleashed. The mood aboard the Nexari command vessel, Indomitable Conquest, was one of irritation rather than concern. Fleet Commander Vorzak stalked across the bridge, his scaled skin flushing deep purple with anger as he reviewed the damage reports from the scout ships. "Impossible," he hissed. "These primitives couldn't have developed acoustic disruptor technology. Their scientific databases showed no knowledge of crystalline matrix vulnerabilities. Science Officer Mevlerin approached cautiously. "Commander, I believe the humans may have been concealing their true capabilities." Vorzak whirled on his subordinate. "Explain." The scout ship's scans were thorough, but focused primarily on their orbital defenses and visible military assets. "We may have overlooked their research facilities and subsurface installations." The commander's eyes narrowed to slits. "Are you suggesting these humans deliberately presented themselves as technologically inferior?" "It's possible," Mevlerin admitted. "Their historical records show a species with remarkable adaptability and a tendency toward deception in warfare." Vorzak turned back to the strategic display, where the main Nexeri fleet, 27 warships and support vessels, approached Earth orbit. "It changes nothing. Their resistance was impressive for primitives, but our main fleet will crush them regardless of what surprises they've hidden." "Commander," the communications officer interrupted. "We're receiving a transmission from the humans." "Put it through," Vorzak ordered. "Let us hear their surrender." The view screen activated, showing a human female in what appeared to be a military uniform. Behind her stood other humans at control stations within what looked like a sophisticated command center. "This is General Helena Zhao of Earth's Combined Defense Forces," the human said, her expression betraying no fear. "Your scouts have experienced a fraction of our defensive capabilities. We attempted peaceful contact, which you rejected. We offered diplomacy, which you spurned. Now we offer you one chance. Leave our system immediately or face annihilation." Vorzak's barking laugh echoed across the bridge. Bold words from a species about to be conquered. "Your defiance is noted. Human, but futile. The Nexeri Dominion has subjugated 12 star systems before yours. None have successfully resisted." General Zhao's expression remained unchanged. "You would be the first to underestimate humanity, Commander. You will not be the last. You have 6 hours to begin withdrawal." The transmission cut off, leaving the Nexeri commander momentarily speechless before he recovered his composure. "Accelerate our approach," he ordered. "All ships prepare for combat deployment. We will crush their defiance and take this world before their artificial day cycle completes." In the hidden command center beneath the Olympus Mons base on Mars, General Zhao turned from the communication array to face her officers. "They're taking the bait," she announced. "Their fleet is accelerating directly toward Earth's orbital defense network, exactly where we want them." Commander Reeves studied the holographic display showing the approaching Nexeri fleet. "They're still confident. Our defense of the scouts hasn't changed their strategy." "Arrogance," Zhao replied. "The downfall of every empire throughout history." She turned to the communications officer. "Signal all Prometheus vessels. Operation Thunderbolt commences in 30 minutes. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleet activated. From the lunar shipyards, from Martian hangars, from asteroid bases, and camouflaged stations in the Jupiter system, ships that had never been revealed to the public eye moved into predetermined positions. The vessels were unlike the utilitarian craft of Earth's public space program. These were sleek, aggressive machines of war, incorporating technologies developed over decades of secret research: gravity manipulation drives, adaptive armor plating, energy weapons reverse-engineered from recovered extraterrestrial fragments found throughout the centuries. "The Nexeri see what we wanted them to see," Zhao continued. "A planet protected by primitive satellites and a handful of orbital platforms. They have no idea what's waiting beyond their sensor range." On the main tactical display, blue indicators representing Earth's hidden fleet converged into attack formations. Unlike the conventional spacecraft the Nexeri expected, these vessels moved with unprecedented speed and precision, their drives leaving no traditional exhaust signatures. "The Prometheus fleet is in position," reported Admiral Kagawa from his command ship near Phobos. "All weapons systems online. Ground-based gravity disruptors are charged and ready." Zhao nodded. "Commence Operation Thunderbolt." Aboard the indomitable Conquest, The first warning came too late. "Commander," the sensor officer shouted, multiple contacts appearing behind us. Before Vorzak could respond, the ship shuddered violently as the first barrage hit. Across the fleet, Nexari vessels found themselves caught in a perfect ambush. Human warships appearing seemingly from nowhere, striking with weapons the Nexari had believed were centuries beyond human development. "Impossible," Vorzak breathed as the tactical display showed the true extent of the human fleet. Their database showed nothing of these vessels. On the main view screen, a human warship accelerated directly toward them, its hull gleaming with an iridescent material that seemed to absorb and redirect the Nexari energy weapons. Along its flanks, weapon ports opened, disgorging swarms of autonomous drones, similar to those that had damaged the scout ships. "Evasive maneuvers," Vorzak ordered. "Concentrate fire on their lead vessel." The Nexari fleet responded with disciplined precision, energy beams converging on the approaching human ship. For a moment, it seemed the human vessel would be vaporized. Then its hull shimmered, and the energy dissipated harmlessly across its surface. "Adaptive energy diffusion," Mevlaren whispered. "They've mastered it." The human vessel fired its main weapon, not the crude nuclear missiles the Nexari had expected, but a focused gravity beam that warped space-time itself around the nearest Nexari cruiser. The vessel imploded, crushed by forces it had no defense against. Across the battlefield, the scene repeated itself. Human ships, appearing from stealth positions or accelerating from hiding places throughout the solar system, engaged the Nexari with technologies the aliens had believed were theoretical at best. They've been preparing for this, Mevlaren realized aloud. For decades, perhaps longer. Everything we scanned, everything we thought we knew, was exactly what they wanted us to see. Vorzak finished, his voice tight with fury. "Order the fleet to regroup. We underestimated these humans, but we still outnumber them." As the Nexari fleet attempted to reorganize, a new threat emerged. From Earth's surface, massive energy signatures bloomed as ground-based weapons activated, quantum disruptors and gravitational lenses that distorted space around the Nexari vessels, disabling their navigation systems and weapons targeting. "Commander," the communications officer called. "The humans are hailing us again." The view screen activated to show Commander Ilara Reeves, now seated in what appeared to be the captain's chair of one of the human warships. "You seem surprised, Commander Vorzak," she said, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. "Did you really think we would broadcast our true capabilities for any passing alien race to discover? Humanity has been watching the stars for centuries, preparing, building in secret. What you scanned from our outpost was a carefully constructed facade. This deception changes nothing." Vorzak snarled. "The Dominion does not retreat. We will still." "Look at your tactical display, Commander," Reeves interrupted. "You've lost 7 vessels already. Your weapons are ineffective against our adaptive shielding, and you haven't even seen our main fleet yet." As if on cue, new contacts appeared on the Nexari sensors. Dozens more human vessels emerging from the shadow of Jupiter, their massive engines flaring as they accelerated toward the battle. For the first time in his long military career, Vorzak felt a sensation he barely recognized: fear. On the bridge of the EDF Prometheus, Commander Reeves watched with grim satisfaction as the Nexari fleet faltered under the combined assault of Earth's forces. "They're breaking formation," reported Lieutenant Chen, now serving as Reeves' tactical officer. 3 of their support vessels are attempting to retreat. "Target their propulsion systems," Reeves ordered. "Disable, don't destroy. We want prisoners." The battle had raged for less than an hour, but the outcome was already clear. The Nexari, expecting to face primitive defenses, had found themselves outmatched by human technology, specifically designed to counter their weapons and exploit their weaknesses. "Commander," Chen called out. "The Nexari flagship is hailing us." "On screen," Reeves replied. Vorzak's face appeared, his normally purple scales now pale with restrained fury. "Commander Reeves, Your deception has been effective. The Nexari Dominion acknowledges your species' unexpected capabilities. Are you surrendering, Commander Vorzak? Reeves asked. The alien commander's jaw tightened. The Dominion does not surrender. But we propose a cessation of hostilities to discuss terms. Reeves exchanged glances with General Zhao, whose holographic image stood beside her command chair. Zhao gave a slight nod. Very well, Reeves replied. All human vessels will cease fire. Your remaining ships will power down weapon systems and maintain position. Any attempt to flee or reactivate weapons will be met with immediate destruction. Vorzak's eyes narrowed, but he nodded. Agreed. I request a direct meeting to discuss terms. Granted, Reeves said. My vessel will dock with yours in 30 minutes. Prepare to receive a human delegation. As the transmission ended, Zhao's hologram turned to Reeves. Be careful, Commander. Cornered predators are the most dangerous. I'm counting on it, Reeves replied. They need to understand exactly what they've awakened. The meeting took place in a neutral section of the Nexari flagship, hastily adapted for human environmental needs. Commander Reeves led a small delegation, including Dr. Singh and 2 armed security officers. Vorzak waited with his own advisors, his posture rigid with barely contained fury. As the humans entered, he performed what appeared to be a formal greeting, though his eyes remained cold. Commander Reeves, he said, you have proven your species to be more formidable than anticipated. The Nexari Dominion acknowledges your victory in this engagement. This wasn't a single engagement, Commander Vorzak, Reeves replied coolly. This was a message. Humanity is not, and has never been, the primitive species you believed us to be. She activated a holographic projector, displaying images of Earth's hidden fleet, hundreds more vessels than had participated in the battle, concealed throughout the solar system. What you encountered today was approximately 15% of our military capacity, she continued. The remainder stands ready if needed. Vorzak's scales paled further. Impossible. Your civilization has not existed long enough to develop such technology. Dr. Singh stepped forward. Your assumption is based on incomplete data, Commander. Humanity has been adapting and reverse engineering advanced technology for over a century, beginning with crashed vessels we recovered in the 1940s. Some of those vessels, we now realize, were likely early Nexari explorers. We learn quickly, Reeves added, and we prepare thoroughly. Your attack on our outpost gave us the final pieces we needed. Direct scans of your technology, which we had already been working to counter for decades. Vorzak studied the humans with new eyes, reassessing everything the Dominion had believed about this species. What are your terms? Simple, Reeves replied. The Nexari Dominion will withdraw from Earth space immediately. You will provide reparations for the lives lost at our outpost, and you will acknowledge humanity as a sovereign power with whom the Dominion will maintain peaceful relations. Or, Vorzak challenged. Reeves' expression hardened. Or we finish this battle and send a more permanent message to your leadership. The choice is yours. For a long moment, silence filled the chamber as Vorzak considered his options. Finally, he gave a short, sharp nod. The Dominion accepts your terms. Commander Reeves, we will withdraw. His eyes narrowed slightly. But know this, you have made an impression on the Dominion that will not be forgotten. That, Reeves replied, was precisely our intention. 3 days later, Commander Reeves stood in the rebuilt observation deck of the Lunar Command Center, watching as the last Nexari vessels disappeared into the darkness of space. General Zhao joined her, hands clasped behind her back. They'll be back, you know. If not them, then others. Word will spread about what happened here. Good, Reeves said. Let them come with eyes open next time. No more underestimating humanity. The public is still processing everything, Zhao continued. 50 years of secret technological development revealed in a single day. The Prometheus project being declassified after all this time. It's a lot for people to absorb. Reeves nodded. But necessary. The galaxy needs to know what we're capable of, and that we're ready to defend ourselves. On Earth below, lights glittered across the night side as cities returned to normal operations. The brief war had cost lives, particularly those at the Sentinel station, but humanity had emerged not just victorious, but transformed. No longer isolated on their world, they had proven themselves a force to be reckoned with among the stars. What happens now? Reeves asked. Zhao smiled slightly. Now we build. The Nexari won't be the last advanced species we encounter, but they've given us something invaluable. What's that? A reputation. Zhao turned to face the vast darkness beyond the moon, where stars beckoned with both promise and peril. The first aliens who encountered humanity underestimated us, treated us as primitive, easy prey. They fought what they thought were our scouts, never expecting our true strength. Her smile widened. I doubt anyone will make that mistake again. As if in response, a transmission came through on the command center's communications array. A signal not from Earth, but from a distant star system. Not Nexari in origin, but something else entirely. It seems word travels fast. Zhao observed as technicians scrambled to translate the new message. Reeves watched as the first words appeared on the screen. Greetings to humanity, the defenders. We have heard of your victory. We would speak with you as equals. Indeed it does, Reeves replied, a smile spreading across her face. And it seems humanity's real journey is just beginning.